Right, Newcastle could be very busy between now and the transfer deadline time in a week's time. Eddie Howe has held his news conference this morning. Our reporter Mark Benstead was there for us. Let's talk to you now. Good to see you, Mark. Look, there are plenty of speculation, both incomings and outgoings surrounding Newcastle then. Did Eddie say any of that today, or is he another manager to be a little bit tight-lipped about things?
Did he address it? Well, yes and no, Vicky. Let's start with a potential outgoing and with the story that dominated much of this morning's media conference, and that is the future of Kieran Trippier. Trippier has been a massive player for Newcastle United, but stories have emerged over the last 24, 48 hours or so that the defender wants to leave the football club. Howe was slightly bemused by it when we raised it with him today. And stressed how valuable the player is to the club still. And you look at the fact that Trippier played 28 of 38 Premier League games last season. Just generally what he's brought to the squad, you feel like he's got good grounds to be bemused by that speculation. But given the fact that Trippier didn't feature, he was an unused sub in the opening league game against Southampton, and given the fact that Bruno Guimaraes has been handed the captain's armband, it felt it was perhaps right to probe this story a little bit further with Eddie Howe. Here's what he had to say on Trippier's impact at Newcastle United, but also on those reports that have come out this week.
The situation is business as usual. Trips has trained really well this week. I'm surprised at a lot of the stories that have come out. A valuable member of the squad. His professionalism has been first class. He's trained really well since he's come back from the Euros. I think he's only had 2 weeks training, hence the decision to not start him at the weekend. And also Tino's had a very good pre-season. And yeah, that's the situation. He continues to be really valued by all of us. He's played a huge role in changing the sort of the narrative around the team, because when he first came in, we were in a really difficult position, and I think it's very easy to forget that.
It's interesting, isn't it? There are 7 days to go in this window. What's Howe said about their business? Is he happy with what they've done so far?
I think frustrated is perhaps the best word to describe his mood regarding the dealings that they've had up until this point. Newcastle fans are desperate for an update on potential signings, desperate to see if Mark Gay's deal is getting closer. Our understanding is that it is getting closer, but nothing to report on that front from the manager. And he admits that this particular transfer window has been exceptionally challenging to deal with.
It's been the most difficult that I've experienced. Without going over old ground, the June part of the transfer window was incredibly difficult. And now this period hasn't been exactly easy either for us. So I think it's always going to be difficult because you're competing for a very small pool of players. And the competition is high from other clubs as well. So I always think you can judge transfer windows in many different ways. Let's judge it. Obviously, there's an initial assessment at the end, but there's also, you have to give it time to see how things lie in a year or 2 years' time.
Yeah, no change in terms of incomings then for Eddie Howe. No change to his squad, it seems, for the weekend. He says by and large it'll be the group they went with last weekend for this weekend. The next game, of course, comes on Sunday as part of Super Sunday when they head to his former club, Bournemouth. He was asked if he thinks Bournemouth are now European contenders, and he said, yeah, you have to think they are, given how they finished last season. It could be a cracker. That one kicks off at 2 o'clock.
I'm sure it will be. Thank you very much, Mark.